Hey there everybody, how's it going? My name is Tamriel. Welcome everybody to Final Fantasy XIV Patch 4.3 overview. In this video, my main point is to talk about what's been happening in patch 4.3, comment about certain things that I liked, and talk about some things regarding the lacking of the content that maybe some people in the community could agree with me on, and to, in general, preface a little bit about why there haven't been much of videos or streams happening for patch 4.3. The patch overall was really fun at launch, but I wish I had a little bit more content at launch to do. We're still waiting for more stuff to come out in patch 4.35 and 4.36 with the deep dungeons and Eureka Pagos. I really would have loved if we had either one or the other to work on and progress in and experiment with while we had with the stuff that we already got. I like the story that we had, I like the trial that we had, I like the new dungeon and the new alliance raid that we've gotten. I just felt like there's nothing much to progress or work towards in regards to feeling accomplished or having something to do outside of running Sigmascape and running the trials until we get the mounts and all the weapons and stuff. I'm one of those players that enjoys the variety that we get in Final Fantasy XIV patches, and before in the previous times when Deep Dungeon first arrived or things like Astrolagos for PvP was announced, it was really fun and really enticing, and I really enjoyed the content that we had because it had something a little bit for everybody for each major content patch. It sucks a little bit that we have to wait a little bit until Deep Dungeon and Pagos, and I know we're gonna be getting them eventually, but at launch kind of leaves me doing nothing much really in particular. Before we talk about some of the things that I disliked, let's go ahead and jump into the things that I loved about this patch, which is first the story. The story for the patch 4.3 was, in my opinion, excellent and amazing, excellent, stellar conclusion to the dominant part of the story for the Stormblood storyline. It began and ended very dramatically and followed patch 4.2 nicely. I'm gonna make sure I don't say anything at all about what happened. The only thing I will show is the trailer footage for patch 4.3 that Square Enix have released, but aside from that I will not show any cinematics whatsoever. It is something to enjoy, it's something to watch, it's absolutely stellar and amazing. But if you are, however, not worried about spoiling it for yourself and you do want to see the story for yourself, I did stream the entire storyline on the day of release, and I've made sure to put spoiler tags in the title. If you want to check that out, that'll be in a link in the description below if you want to check out the full-on story. Even towards the end of patch 4.3 storyline, it leaves a majorly satisfying cliffhanger that makes me believe that the story will progress at the end of Stormblood and into the next expansion possibly. Many subplots have started out towards the end of patch 4.3 that could turn into something greater, especially in regards to Alphinaud's story arc, which I will not mention. It's something worth to be played for. It is one of the most exciting endings and cliffhangers in all the story patches that I've ever seen. I'm very looking forward to what we're going to be getting next. This was by far one of my favorite story bits in all of Stormblood. I love the original storyline, and patch 4.1 story was pretty good. 4.2 set up for a lot of dramatic things to happen in 4.3, and 4.3 finished off the Doman storyline extremely nicely and teased some things to happen in the next patch 4.4. The trial for this new patch is stellar, excellent, beautiful, amazing. The sound is excellent. The mechanics for both normal and expert version are stellar. The visuals for the boss in the battle arena are incredible in my personal opinion. It was one of the most breathtaking things I've ever experienced in all of Promise. My group and I actually learned to fight on our own for the most part, and it was fun to figure out the general mechanics and develop our own strat, which actually slightly differs from the general pug strats that people have developed so far. Learning the Tsukuyomi fight was absolutely stellar, and we got it to the point on farm. It was actually really fun. We ended up farming the heck out of the fight and even ended up getting 2 or 3 dogs to drop down on stream live right then and there. It was actually kind of cool. I unfortunately will have to come back multiple times to the fight in order to get the mount, but after farming it for a real long time and back to back over and over, I kind of need a little bit of a break right now before I come back to the fight. It's a really fun and exciting fight to learn how to play, but just doing the fights and any trial or primal in particular over and over on repeat on farm does get boring throughout the day, so you need some things to do in between for breaks. The new dungeon, Swallow's Compass, is aesthetically pleasing to the eye. It's a great way to catch up on gear for all gearing, and in my opinion the best dungeon from the expert roulette on the level of how fun it is to do. It may not be the quickest whatsoever, and there are probably some other dungeons you can do if you want to make them quicker or faster, if you want to speed run through them, but overall Swallow's Compass just feels more fresh. The music from there is exciting, the bosses are pretty intense and pretty interesting, and overall it's just something fun to roll into when it comes to running expert. And it's always a pleasure to get a fight over on expert. It's much better than getting Alamigo or something like that. It's much better than getting Alamigo as part of your expert roulette. But after a while running this dungeon over and over, it does get a little bit boring, so having some variety to run would have been great. Ridorana's Lighthouse is an amazing homage to the Final Fantasy XII's Ferris of Ridorana. I love that part of the story so much because it felt like a really challenging climb to the very top, and that's where the story was really having a major climax to then ending to the final battle and having things start wrapping up together. I never played Final Fantasy XII back in the day. I just got to play the remake of it on PS4 at some point, and it was really fun regardless. I actually really enjoyed that game entirely. The bosses are in particular very punishing because of their intense mechanics, the amount of damage they do, and some of them can be pretty much almost a one-shot or a two-shot for players that don't pay attention. And it can actually wipe out alliances entirely in one single go if people aren't careful. And that's what I would like my alliance bosses to be like. I want it to be intense. In fact, I wish we could get an alliance savage mode. That'd be really cool. Square, could we please get an Alliance Savage mode? I would really appreciate that. I would love to run it with my free company. I think all of us would enjoy it. The greed gearing was a little bit weird, however, but we ran as a full party, usually as a full alliance, and we negotiated ahead of time who wants what and what to pass for each other. The need system is back, however, so it should make gearing a lot easier for people entering random parties in the alliance. And of course, the math boss was really fun to do once you figure out how to do it. But overall, the raid, like anything else in this patch, can get a little bit tedious to do and becomes almost like a weekly chore every Tuesday. So I've been avoiding it whenever I need to do it or when I'm running with my free company or friends that are on the time. Aside from that, I don't particularly need gear for my main. I could get gear for my alts, but aside from gearing alts, I don't really have a major reason to run it. Unlike many players, I'm not really much of a gear hog, right? Like, if the content doesn't stimulate me, it doesn't excite me, or doesn't make me feel good or hype for it, I'm not going to be working towards it in particular. But while the fight still stays exciting and it's really fun to run it with my free company members and friends, I'm still going to be doing it on the times when I'm streaming or something like that. If you don't count the Namas of B-Stripes and Uwu Ultimate, this is the current lineup of content that we have right now in patch 4.3. I would love to get some Deep Dungeon, and I would love to get some more Eureka. I'm actually one of the people that really likes Eureka for the grind aspect of it, for getting together in the morning with free company members and running through and getting loot and seeing progression happen. That is really fun, and that's something that I personally really enjoy. So I would love to see it come back again and actually be released as soon as possible. In Final Fantasy XIV, I love the feeling of progress. Really, in any game or any MMO that I play, I love the feeling of progress and progressing something towards something new, something challenging, something different, something difficult. And while I do really like Sigmascape Savage, running it every single time without having things to mix and match it when progressing in other pieces of content for Final Fantasy XIV, it makes it a little bit difficult and a little bit grating. The one thing I don't want to be encountering is a burnout from the content that we currently have right now and had in previous patch. I just don't want to get burnt out by Sigmascape Savage while doing it constantly over and over and over and over again. And when I do play with other players, I do feel like there's slight burnout happening here and there with some of my free company members, so I don't want to also burn them out and force them to run Sigmascape Savage with me. I guess the only other thing I can do is level my alt character on a different data center, level my last 3 jobs of White Mage, Black Mage, and Monk, or just working gearing alts to a nice pace. If we had something like a Deep Dungeon or Eureka Pagos released on patch 4.3, that'd be great to do in between, because it would be another way to progress in Final Fantasy XIV as well to explore and experience fun content out there. In previous patches from Final Fantasy XIV, I personally liked the variety of things like Deep Dungeon and even Aquapolis in PvP, which allowed for me and others to try different variety of things in-game while still doing pre-existing content. Like I said before, Savage is really fun, but when you do it too much, it gets on you a little bit. You gotta be able to mix it up and keep things a little bit interesting. I'm one of those players that will get eventually tired if I'm doing the same thing over and over and over again. I need some ways to mix it up, which is why I haven't unfortunately been able to make anything regarding Final Fantasy XIV. I would love to make some videos. I'd be delighted to make some videos. It's just there's nothing particularly stimulating that I want to make videos on at the current moment. In the meantime, what I would like to focus on is maybe making some Final Fantasy XIV videos that have nothing to do with the current patch, maybe some sort of a beginner guide or a guide for new players or something like that, or maybe even take some highlights from live streams of fun and interesting moments. I also might cover some games that I find interesting regarding E3's announcements. The many titles that were announced that have really caught my eye, especially with one of those titles being Fallout 76 claiming to be fully online. I'd personally like to keep my eye on that, and if possible, even see if I can get myself into a beta access. Then there's games like Elder Scrolls Online for me to play with a new Somerset DLC that I really would like to try out. There are also other games that I'd like to check out and investigate regarding MMOs and possibly new MMOs that I might be able to get an access on. The reason I'm being very ambiguous about it is because I don't know how much I can really give away. And if any of you have been interested in what I've been doing aside from Final Fantasy XIV or lack of Final Fantasy XIV, I've been doing a lot of streaming over on my second channel where where I actually adapted a lot of VRChat stuff. You've probably seen people like Tate come over to VRChat to try it out, maybe make some highlights and videos, and I've met a lot of really cool people on there, and it's been pretty fun being able to stream on there pretty regularly. I actually stream there every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday evening. So if any of y'all want to join in, check out the second channel down in the description below, check out some highlights, see if this is something you might like. It's very different from what I do on Final Fantasy XIV, extremely different. VRChat is more of a social game rather than an MMO or a game with any content. It's a lot of user-generated content that people upload to the game, and it's all in VR, so it's very different to Final Fantasy XIV. But if any of y'all are interested and would like to check out what it is and maybe check out some of the stuff that I do in there, you're more than welcome to. Links are in the description down below. Nevertheless, I hope to make some more videos for Final Fantasy XIV and begin to make a little bit more content. Hopefully some sort of an announcement is made regarding the Final Fantasy XIV and Monster Hunter crossover on when we're going to be getting that. I would love to cover that, and whenever patch 4.35 and 4.36 will be coming out. Nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed the video regardless. I apologize for the lack of content on this channel as of recent. I'll try to fix that with some stuff and supplement it. Nevertheless, hope you enjoyed. My name is Thariel. Like, subscribe, and as always, have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video or whatever I make. See ya!